You know the feeling. You're at a party, or a dinner, or a busy office. The room is loud. People are laughing. The energy is high. And then without warning, it happens. A glass wall slides down between you and the rest of the world. You can hear them, but you can't touch them. You can see them, but you don't recognize yourself in them. You are physically present, but spiritually, you feel like a ghost haunting your own life. Most people call this social anxiety, or they say you're just introverted. But you know that's not it. Because you aren't afraid of people. You're simply incompatible with the frequency they're broadcasting. This is the outsider's paradox. The more people you're surrounded by, the more isolated you feel. Stay with me because we're going to expose why this happens to a very specific type of person, the high monitor observer. And by the end, you'll realize this feeling isn't a defect to be fixed. It's a vantage point to be mastered. Now let's go straight to the mechanism. Why does that glass wall appear in the first place? It appears the moment you lose the ability to merge. Most people can dissolve into a group without even thinking. They walk into a room, catch the vibe, mirror the tone, sync their energy, and become part of the collective. Not because they're shallow, because it's a social survival instinct. Safety in numbers. But you stopped merging a long time ago. You don't participate in the moment, you watch the moment. You analyze the conversation while you're having it. You notice the fake laughter. You see the power dynamics. You hear the silence underneath the noise. And here's the trap. The more accurately you see the room, the less you feel inside the room. Because when you're analyzing the room, you cannot be in the room. You're stuck in the director's chair, watching the actors. And looking down from that chair is lonely. The actors are having fun, but the director is working. Pause for a second and be honest. When you're in a crowd, do you actually feel people? Or do you mostly feel your own thoughts about people? Now, here's the part you might not want to admit. You complain about being lonely, but secretly, you feel superior to them. You look at their small talk and think, this is meaningless. You watch them repeat the same jokes, the same opinions, the same social rituals, and a part of you feels above it. But that judgment is exactly what keeps the glass wall in place. Because the moment you decide they're beneath you, you can't join them anymore. And the mind loves this position because it feels safe. If you're too deep for them, you never have to risk being rejected by them. You never have to fully step in. You never have to reveal yourself. So the director stays in the chair and calls it identity. Now, once you understand that, the next piece clicks into place. Because even if you drop the superiority, there's still the second problem, the depth mismatch. You don't just want conversation. You want contact. There's a German word, Fernweh, an ache for distant places. But what you have is an ache for distant conversations. You crave depth, philosophy, truth, the real stuff. But modern social interaction is built on surface tension, weather, jobs, pop culture, harmless updates. It's designed to be safe, not deep. And when you try to bring depth into a room designed for safety, you violate the social contract. You become the heavy energy. So you learn to mask. You learn to perform the script. How are you? I'm good. Crazy weather. And every time you speak a line from the script, something in you quietly collapses because the you that's talking isn't you. It's a PR representative you hired to survive the dinner. That's why you can be surrounded by people and still feel alone. Because the person they're interacting with is a version of you designed to be digestible. And here comes the harsh truth that changes how you see this. People don't exclude you. You exclude yourself. Not intentionally, not dramatically, quietly. You reject their surface-level connection because it feels like a lie to you. But to them, it doesn't feel like a lie. It feels like safety. It feels like a gentle handshake between strangers that says, I won't threaten you, you won't threaten me. And if you can't tolerate the handshake, you never get to the hug. So you stay outside the circle. Now, let's go even deeper, because there's a third force that makes the outsider feel like an alien in normal rooms. It's not just social, it's philosophical. There's a concept called hyperreality, a world of copies. Copies of opinions, copies of lifestyles, copies of desires. A reality built from performances. And the outsider feels alone because they're allergic to the copy. You're looking for something authentic in a room full of simulations. You look at a group of friends laughing and you wonder, do they actually like each other? Or are they just terrified of being alone? You hear the jokes, and you hear the fear underneath them. You see the smiles, and you see the insecurity holding them up. Because you see the cracks in the matrix, you can no longer enjoy the simulation. And that is a painful place to exist. But stay with me, because here's where most people get it wrong. They assume the solution is to force themselves to become a participant, to be louder, to be funnier, to be normal. And that only increases the loneliness, because now you're performing. So no, you're not doomed to be the lonely watcher forever. But you do have to stop trying to force yourself into a role that isn't yours. You're trying to be a dog when you're a wolf. The dog loves the pack. The wolf tolerates the pack, but lives for the hunt. And if you're an outsider, your gift isn't that you merge well. Your gift is that you see. So here's the shift. The solution to the outsider's paradox is not to force connection. It's to accept your role as the seer and to use it consciously instead of suffering unconsciously. History has always needed people who stand at the edge of the fire, looking out into the dark. Artists, philosophers, writers. They're all outsiders. They feel alone in the crowd, so they can see what the crowd ignores. And this is the reframe that changes everything. The next time you feel that glass wall slide down, don't panic. Don't think, what is wrong with me? Think, I'm shifting into observation mode. Then do the one thing that turns loneliness into power. Stop trying to perform. Stop trying to be fun. Stop trying to earn your place through personality. Just watch. Just listen. Because when you stop struggling against the loneliness, it transforms into solitude. And solitude is powerful because it gives you access to your real self again. Now here's the final insight, and it's the one that makes the entire paradox make sense. You feel alone in a room full of people because you're carrying a world inside you that doesn't fit in that room. That is not a failure. That is a burden of capacity. So don't shrink the world inside you to fit the room. Find a bigger room. Or learn to be content with being the only one who can see the view from where you are standing.